Well, moving on in today's segment of Room for Change, we visit a beautiful apartment on Sportank Road.
Paintings, murals and memorabilia adorn the living space of the Logans. Take a look.
Hello, Ms.
Hi,
Geeta.
come in.
Thank you so much for inviting us over.
Okay, welcome.
As we were admiring their home, Mrs. Geeta Logan told us how she wanted her house designed.
So, Ms. Geeta, can you tell us the brief that you gave Mahi when you invited her to design your house?
Yeah, mainly I wanted to make some piece in the living room. You know, it had to stand out. So I didn't want a standard figure here. So when people step in, they had to see that piece.
Okay.
And so she knew exactly what I needed, and she took me to the right place and got this mural done.
Okay.
This was the first thing that went in, and then she matched everything else, you know, to go with the mural.
Okay.
The wooden floor was already there, so she matched this, and then everything else went with the mural, including the sofas and the earthy colors, and that is the thing. Until today, everybody talks about it.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Logan invited their next door neighbor and interior designer Mahalakshmi to design their home. Now let's find out how designer Mahalakshmi made Mrs. Geeta's dream possible.
So, Mahi, tell us, what did you keep in mind when you designed this apartment?
Basically, one thing was space. I wanted it to look spacious, and the other thing was I wanted to incorporate some very contemporary elements along with one or two touches of the classic.
Okay.
And they've traveled quite a bit, and they've collected a lot of, like memorabilia. So I wanted to also showcase them in their living space.
And was there any reason, I mean, the whole apartment is done in different shades of brown, right? So, was there any specific reason to it?
The client liked brown, and they wanted a very neutral palette. So that brown was the starting point for me as a color. But then I started working with different tones of the same color.
And what is the one unique thing you've designed in this apartment?
When I do a living space, I would like to work with a focal point. Because when people walk in, I would like them to see one particular thing which acts as a conversation starter, or conversation piece.
Okay.
So in this case, it is this mural which has got a lot of earthy tones.
Okay. And do you usually follow a concept when you design a certain space?
Definitely yes. The starting point would be the client brief, of course. They would tell me what they are expecting out of the space. But after that, I work on a theme. I draft like a like the rough draft or whatever, the first draft, and then I present it to them, and if they're okay with it, I'll kind of fine tune it. But I always start with a theme.
Okay.
It could be a theme as in, like a Mediterranean or that geographical kind of a thing, or it could even be based on some patterns, geometric patterns, or the colors, or whatever elements.
And Mahi, when you designed this space, did you want to achieve something specific at the end of it all?
Yeah. One thing I wanted to achieve is that space, the sense of space. So when somebody walks in, they should feel like they are in a very open space and not feel claustrophobic. The other thing I wanted to achieve was this, like I said, these tones of very earthy colors, so people feel at home, more relaxed.
Okay. And what is the one advice you would give someone who wants to achieve a space with not too much clutter and make it look as spacious as possible?
You could break down, do away with walls as much as possible, and I use a lot of glass in my interiors, mirrors and glass, so which mirrors usually double the space. So the use of mirrors and glass helps a lot, and also furniture can be as sleek as possible, very clean lines, no clutters, curves, embellishments, as much as possible. If you can work with clean lines, that gives a very sleek and spacious feel to the whole thing.